Be cool for school with free gifts and up to 50% off all the items you will need for back to school. Purchase an HP laptop for only $1,399 and get a free HP laptop bag. Now that's great, but wait, there is always room for a sale with more free gifts and up to 50% off furniture, appliance, and electronics. Save $700 on a washer and get a free iron, or get prices as low as $699 on lounge and get discounts up to $1,800. Get a pressure cooker vacuum for free with your next purchase of a stove or living room set. Shop now with no cash and get instant credit for 3 to 48 months in store or online at shopcarts.com. The savings, sales, discounts, and offers are all great all month long only at Courts. Courts, bringing value home.
Mommy, remember you told me if I pass all my exams, you would buy me a brand new laptop computer, a cell phone, and a PlayStation 4? Well, here are the results.
Wow, son, you did great. But where can I find all these stuff at affordable prices?
Smart Electronics, Mommy. They have stuff for the entire family. They have washing machines, cell phones, tablets, refrigerators, TVs, blenders, irons, microwave ovens, Bluetooth speakers, and much, much more. And they are located at Port Zante opposite the food court.
Wow, but son, where did you get all these information?
My friend told me, and he also told me if you buy them somewhere else, they won't last.
Is that so?
Yes, Mommy, so I don't want you to buy them anywhere else but Smart Electronics.
Okay, son, get dressed. We're going down to Smart Electronics.
No need to go to St. Martin anymore. We have everything available right here in St. Kitts. And remember, we have only one store in St. Kitts, and we are located at Port Zante opposite the food court. Smart Electronics, way to live a smart life.
Stop standing in long ATM lines to withdraw cash. Use your national debit or black cards to complete a wide variety of transactions at supermarkets, variety stores, gas stations, pharmacies, and more. Shop online at the most popular websites and stores for quality brands using your national debit or black cards. And take back your time to enjoy all the things that you love to do. Remember, instead of waiting in long ATM lines to withdraw cash, use your National Bank cards today.
National Bank, always here.
Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, listening to ZIZ Radio, television, and other means of communication. Today is Thursday, of course, the 18th of August, another lovely day, and we give thanks and praise. And it's also my last day here with you again for the time being, as Brother Bradley returns as of Monday. And you know we don't have any session on Fridays, so this will be my last session with you. I must say I enjoyed the couple of weeks. I learned quite a bit from the exchange of ideas, views, experiences, opinions, etc. I also learned from the guests, the various guests whom I would have had over the short period. I'm going to be having another guest in the next couple of minutes, and he will be the final one, of course, under my stint here as host. I want to repeat how grateful I am when others call in and decently, properly, respectfully share their views, even though they may be contrary, quite in opposition to those held by others or even by myself. That is absolutely immaterial. You call in and express yourself as you wish. Just do it properly. Respect ZIZ, respect the host, respect yourself, respect others, respect the country. Because we're going to be opening the lines when my guest has come, and he would have made some opening remarks. We're going to open the lines for you to join us in the discussion as to what are the merits and demerits of selling passports, selling citizenship, in order for us to, as a means of revenue, as a means of economic activity, as a means of earning income for the country. Do you think it is all good? What are the advantages and disadvantages? What are the pros and cons? That's what we want to look at today, my final session for the time being. Yesterday we would have heard that it was the birthday of Marcus Garvey, and we learned that Marcus Garvey was a poet, among other things. I want to share one of his poems with you. That's before my guest comes and we begin our conversation. And I want you to listen carefully, because it speaks a lot to the, it's entitled A Black Woman, and it speaks a lot to the value and virtue and worth of the black woman. Alright, and it's composed by Marcus Garvey himself. A lot of us might not know that Marcus Garvey, that was one of his talents. That was one of the many gifts in his repertoire. And so the poem reads, Queen, black woman, queen of beauty, thou hast given color to the world. Among other women, thou art royal and the fairest. Like the brightest of jewels in the regal diadem shinest thou. Goddess of Africa, nature's purest emblem. Nature's purest emblem. Black men worship at your virtuous shrine of truest love, because in thine eyes are virtues steady. A holy mark as we see in no other, clothed in silk and fine linen, from ancient Venus, the goddess, to mythical Helen. When Africa stood at the head of the elder nations, the gods used to travel from foreign lands to look at thee, black woman. On court of costly eastern materials, all perfumed, reclineth thee. As in thy path, flowers were strewn, sweetest that bloom. Thy transcendent, marvelous beauty made the whole world mad, bringing Solomon to tears as he viewed thy comeliness. Anthony and the elder Caesar at thy royal feet, preferring death than to leave thy presence their foes to meet. You, as in all ages, have attracted the adoring world, causing many a bloody banner to be unfurled. Black woman, eminence to see a world fight in your ancient African defense. Today, you are dethroned through weakness of yourself and of your men, while with frenzy those of us crave your smiles and your hands. Those who are all monsters and would not with love approach you, have insulted your pride and now attack your good virtue. Black woman, through this union, you became the mother of the world, giving tinge of robust color to all 5 continents, making a greater world of millions of colored people whose claim to beauty is reflected through our black faces. Black woman, from the handsome Indian to the European brunette, there is a claim for that credit of their sunny beauty from thee, which none can ever take from thee. Queen of all women, queen of all women, the black woman. By Marcus, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I love this poem, and it supports my view that black women, because they are naturally beautiful, beauty bestowed by the Creator himself. I don't understand why so many black women have to turn to wigs and weaves and braids and all kinds of things to put in their hair. I don't know why, when they are naturally, normally lovely and beautiful. Why do so many, not 1%, not 10%, not 40 or 50 or 80%, almost all adult women have some kind of extraneous material in their hair? Why? Who fooled them and told them that they need that? That has bothered me for quite some time. So maybe you can share some views with me. Don't tell me that it's their right and duty, right and privilege. We know that, right? But if all of us were to exercise the rights that we have, we would have a very dysfunctional society. My question is, why do so many women obtain that? Let me go. Why do so many women go through that motion of removing their hair and inserting foreign material to spoil their beauty? A lot of them think it enhances their beauty, but in my mind and in the mind of many others, it really doesn't. So that's a poem by Marcus Garvey. If you wish a copy, call me and let me know, and I'll be glad to share with you. Okay, so we are back now with our regular discussion, and my guest, Mr. Ira McMahon, has arrived, and I welcome him. He'll be my last guest because this is my last day. As I would have mentioned earlier, Mr. Bradley returns next week. I'm happy for that. I think Mr. Bradley does a hell of a job, a very good job. So we're looking forward to his return. And so my short stint to assist him in ensuring that the program continues while he enjoys his vacation ends today. And I will be listening from time to time as he takes over again as of next week. So ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, be sure to continue to listen to Frank and Candid as of next week. Support Brother Bradley. Make your calls as regularly and as often as possible. Stick to the time limits, and let us continue to have a very useful and educative, edifying, useful, as I would like to repeat, useful Frank and Candid discussion. A useful Frank and Candid discussion. Alright? Not just today, but continuing forward with whoever the host is. Thank you very much. Mr. McMahon, welcome to Frank and Candid for today, where we expect to have another useful conversation.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. I think the last time I was here, you were actually in
Yes, that was some time ago.
Yes,
Last year, I think it was.
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember you giving me some grief. We were discussing the good governance agenda, I think.
Right, I think so, yeah.
But it's nice to be here again.
Very well.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we thought we would discuss. I was just sharing a poem, by the way, by Marcus Garvey. I'm not sure if you're familiar that Marcus Garvey was a poet. Yeah, and I have a couple of his poems, which really are profound, wide, deep. His poems encompass a breadth of topics, all related, well, not all, but mostly related to things blackness and black liberation. And I just shared one about the black woman. And I would like to get some feedback on that from individuals, if not here on radio, when we meet each other in the street. But you and I want to talk a little bit about the question of citizenship for sale. We've been having this exercise since Dr. Simmons introduced it in his wisdom, or lack of it, in 1984. Not long after we obtained independence, political independence, so-called. Now, to this date, next year we celebrate 40 years of independence. 40 years of independence. You know, a lot of people are questioning whether we are really independent. In fact, whether any country can really lay claim to being independent. So maybe it's a wrong term we've been using forever, because the whole notion of independence suggests an ability to go on one's own, an ability to survive without the help or critical help of others, and that certainly I can't see that happening with even the greatest and most powerful countries in the world. Far less countries which not only small island developing states, but really have no claim to fame, either politically, militarily, economically, socially, culturally. When we look at it on a larger global scale. I was looking at a map in a travel agency the other day, and I noticed that where St. Kitts appears, seems as though one had to sharpen a pencil to its finest point and then barely touch it, right, on the map.
If you could see it at all.
In order for it to appear. And so it means that the world is a very large cosmos, because I'm seeing very large countries and St. Kitts hardly appears. And we think here in St. Kitts that we are so big and bad and great. I discussed that one time, whether St. Kitts is a great country. What makes St. Kitts great You look at the map, think it doesn't hardly appears, but we're great. What is the criteria for greatness? So is selling citizenship one of the variables that one has to examine in order to determine greatness? You think it's a great country because we sell a lot of passports? So we've been doing this Iowa for a long time, and there's no question that the practice has brought us some benefits. There is no denying that. But I want to suggest, in fact, I want to submit that there are other activities that one could do, which would also bring us economic benefits. But does that make it right? You know, we like to use slavery as our point of reference. Slavery was an activity that brought a lot of benefits to those who were involved. We all know that. We like to argue that the West, particularly the colonizing powers in Europe, were built largely on the backs of the labor of slavery. But does that make it right? Okay, so even though we are selling citizenship and it's a legal practice, does that make it right? Is it the correct thing to do? I'm one of those who believe that we should cease and desist from selling our passports. Yeah. Of course, one of our concerns is that we are not even being told, we've never been told, and we've had, 4 successive administrations, Dr. Simmons, Dr. Douglas, Dr. Harris, and now Dr. Joe the fourth. And we've never been told with any definitive exactitude how many passports have been sold in that way. Is it important that we know? I would want to argue that it is. I guess we have not been told the number of passports, because one can easily deduce the amount of money that we should have received minimally, because all we have to do is do the mathematics and use the very lowest of the possible figures. We know that the figures can vary for the cost of the passport, so to speak. But if we use the very smallest one, once we know that 5,000 or 50,000 or 500,000 passports have been sold, we simply do the mathematics and we know, well, hey, so we should have made 1 million, 1 billion, 1 trillion, 1 quadrillion, 1 zillion dollars over that time. And then we want to question now, where has this money gone? So even if we begin to add up now, okay, we spent this amount doing that, we spent that amount doing this, then where's the rest? Is that the reason why we've not been told how many passports have been sold? Because if citizenship, selling passports is such a good thing, such a decent thing, why aren't we being advised as to that? That's just one element, of course, because there are a number of other elements one can look at, and which I intend to look at over the next half an hour or so. But I'm concerned about that. I would like to know that since 1984, St. Kitts, via this practice of selling, of citizenship by investment, by this practice of selling passports, I like to put it, has brought us where we have sold this number of passports, and so we would have earned this amount of money. The question is, couldn't we have earned that, whatever the amount of money is, couldn't we have earned it via another legitimate source of activity? You know, and who are these people? Who are these people who are buying our passports? Who are the individuals who are in possession of our passport? Isn't a passport supposed to be a very important, almost sacrosanct document? I mean, why is it that an individual, because he happens to have, and we don't know how he came into contact or possession of his monies, but because he's able to buy a passport for $100,000 or $200,000, and he meets certain other criteria, so-called, we sell him a passport. Who is this man? Who is this individual? How many more Mogadam and other people like that do we have out there? And you are proponent of selling the passports, and so, you know, I want to suggest that these are some of the reasons why we should reconsider the passport business. And by the way, one time it was denounced, the practice was denounced as similar to selling black pudding on a Friday afternoon. And then we found that later on it became similar to selling cook-up every afternoon. All right? So, when we do that, aren't we cheapening, compromising, even neutralizing the value and worth of our passport when we sell passports so glibly because an individual happens to meet some so-called due diligence criteria, right? Some argue that it's I think you argue that it's a national asset, and we should exploit that national asset. But should all national assets be monetized? Should all national assets be struck? Because if that's the case, I would suggest that, hey, if we were to get to a point where we have another large national debt, let us sell Brimstone Hill. Let us sell Brimstone Hill to the highest bidder, and we use that to pay off our national debt, because Brimstone Hill could bring in quite a handy sum, couldn't it? Should every national asset be bartered and sold and swapped? It means that nothing is beyond mercantilism. Nothing is beyond. Nothing is super important. Nothing is sacrosanct. I want to use that term. It's extremely holy. It's extremely critical, such that it cannot be bought, should not be bought or sold. You know, we cannot buy nor sell salvation, for example. And could you imagine what the terrible fate would be if that were to happen? So these are some of the questions I have. And I can assure you I'm not alone in this thinking. All right? But those are my views. Let's hear yours before we open the lines.
Okay, just by way of background, yes, the CBI started in 1984, and we are credited with the distinction of being the first country who organized such a program. But we also know that up until perhaps 2006, I think, we heard very little about the CBI, because back then I don't think it brought in any significant funds, and only a few persons, I think, were involved in the processing and the granting of citizenship. Fast forward to 2006, when the SIDF was created. The SIDF became synonymous with the CBI, okay, because of how the two were intertwined.
And it is from the CBI that the SIDF received its funds.
Right, exactly. Okay, when you had the real estate option and that sort of thing. Okay, and that was when people sat up and took notice, when the money started pouring in. And when I say people, locally, regionally, globally, right? Friends and enemies alike, they all sat up and took notice, because you know the first world. For one thing, the transactions were usually in US dollars, and any industry that involves, as it is now, billions of dollars will attract attention from the powers that be in North America and Europe.
From both legitimate and illegitimate actors.
Of course, okay. And so they took notice. And just like when we had the offshore financial industry, offshore banking, the offshore betting, gaming industry, they always look at what we're doing when they're handling large amounts of what they consider their money, their capital, okay? And they're always looking for people who are going to run to these, they call them schemes, that would siphon capital from their jurisdictions and hide it in some 2x4 country somewhere else. So it's not surprising, it's not right, it's not surprising that the sat up and took notice, and it became controversial. You have to distinguish, though, between independence and sovereignty. You made a big deal of that at the beginning. Yeah. Sure, we're considered independent. We're small, we're tiny, minuscule almost, but we're considered independence. And with that independence becomes, we're supposed to have sovereignty. Okay, you can argue whether or not that is in fact so. But the reality is, we are supposed to have control over things like our citizenship, right? You would think so, okay? And that in itself is a cause for conflict, right? Because if you exert your sovereignty and independence to the extent that some other larger, more powerful country consider it threatening, they are going to respond. And so respond they did with, things like the FinCEN's advisories and blacklisting and all these things. Okay? But if you're sovereign, that gives us our right to use, as you pointed out, that it was a national asset.
One does not question that. That is not in question.
You might not question it, but they question it. Okay? Because, for one thing, they're saying that we are using our relations with them to leverage our passport. The more you know that we try to get as many visa-free access possibilities to countries.
Visa-free,
Yeah, okay. And it's galling to them to be using essentially what they consider their asset to sell our passports. Okay?
That's because then that diminishes now the integrity of their citizenship. No,
not really.
No,
because they still have control.
No, I'm sorry, I'm confusing that. It is I'm looking at the issue between the European Union and Cyprus and Malta.
Okay.
The European Union has taken them to court.
That's a different.
For that purpose, because they're saying, hey, by selling your passport, which automatically grants citizenship to the person to have those passports, is compromising the integrity of European citizenship.
Of course.
Which of course is an important point to note, even though we are not. It is not the very same thing when we sell our passports. But by selling our passports, we, in my mind, are also, as I said earlier, neutralizing the value and worth of our passports. So,
no, I don't agree with that in the sense that, well, for one, let's take for instance the Mogadam issue, which by the way, you notice you never heard about that after.
As usual,
that was right. That was
one of so many. So many issues that come up. We make a big issue out of it. We're supposed to get report. We're supposed to get inquiry.
It was just another political
and nothing happens.
Right?
Lord of mercy.
Right. Okay. But a lot of it depends on your philosophy in terms of. I'm looking at the bigger picture now. The world belongs to who? You could never ever stop migration. People will move one way or the other. Okay? And they always move in search of better opportunities.
Of course,
throughout history, it has always been like that.
It's part of the United Nations Charter.
And now
that's why it is enshrined.
And now it's no different, right? And so when you say that a passport is sacrosanct, to me that's an artificial document that tells me, well, I can't cross this border without, somebody over there saying that I could. Right? That's why I say it's a philosophical question, okay, of how you view migration, the earth and its resources.
But I'm not sure if that's correct, because it's the very passport that enables you to migrate.
Legally
and
properly. People will migrate whether by whatever means, passports or boat people or.
A lot of those boat people do have passports, eh? But go ahead.
You think they do?
They have passports, they don't have visas. Right? In most countries, in most cases,
yes. But they choose those extreme measures to get over there where they think the pastures are greener without using the passport.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm saying that can't be stopped, and throughout history you see that happening. The passport won't stop that. You ask also if an asset should be monetized.
Yes.
Why not? We monetize all other. When we were in sugar, we monetized that. When we when we had other industries, we monetize it because it's useful for trading purposes. So why not? Why select that asset not to monetize that particular one?
So when the third farmer at Basti High School at one time told the guidance counselor that she's not going to be poor because she has what men want. Men are willing to pay for what she has, and so she's going to use that asset that she has, which men want and are willing to pay for, to be able to live well.
No, I'm not saying that there are no standards. What I'm saying is, in the case of a passport, why do you select a passport? Why do you consider that sacrosanct? You shouldn't even be comparing it with a woman's body.
Well, to some extent. To some extent.
No, I didn't like that example, but yeah.
Right, but no, what I wanted to make, the point I want to make is this. Whenever someone has something, whether it be an individual or a country, yes, which is considered not just of value, but of critical value, of for example, I own a book. I own a pen. It is not, and they are valuable, they are assets. If I were to list, compile an inventory of my assets, I would have to include them. But they're not the same as, for example, a Lexus Infinity or a Jaguar. But they are all assets. So I'm saying that some assets are far more valuable. If I want to say that my intellectual capital, my intellectual ability, my academic qualifications, my talents, my proficiency in languages and all of that, if I were to put a monetary value to those,
and you do,
to some extent,
yes, because you get work based on those assets, those talents, right? You know, and so even subconsciously you do. I mean, you're doing that, and I don't say anything wrong with that. If you have if you have particular talents and don't use them, I think you're doing a disservice to
Don't you find, Iowa, that we are going to... Okay, you want to take calls?
Okay, you can...
Okay, let's take our first caller. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. I realize one Dwyer-Astafan is on a relentless attack against Sean Richards.
Excuse me, can't hear you too well.
I realize that one Dwyer-Astafan is on a relentless attack against Sean Richards and the People's Action Movement. I would like to remind Dwyer of a couple of things. One is this,
Excuse me.
Dr. ran for 2 elections.
Dr. Warner. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I have with me here on Franklin Candid, Iowa McMahon. I'm not sure if your question is this is the time and place, because we're looking at citizenship and selling passports and so on.
Well, if this is not what you're talking about, I'll speak the next time. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Yes, because that sounds a bit extraneous. We have okay.
And so okay, let's take this debacle about the Hamilton statue in Nevis. Okay, I don't even remember. People were saying that we make a big deal about Hamilton being born in Nevis.
Right.
Right. When in fact he was a slave owner, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Right. But what's wrong in using the fact that he was born there for things like tourism and so purposes? To me, that's poetic justice in the sense that, sure, he was a slave owner, but let's get some reparations from him now by using his name.
So let's make money off a slave owner, off a slave owner.
But they made money off of us, didn't they? They made money off of us, didn't they?
Of course they did.
So that's why I call it poetic justice.
I'm one of those who I don't believe that we should be clamoring and using as our claim to fame the fact that an individual was born in a particular country. I think that where you're born is an incident or accident of history.
It is, but so that's like telling Jamaicans don't use Mali or
No, because not only was Mali is associated with Jamaica, whether he was born there or not. The way Calypso Reggie is associated with St. Kitts, so he wasn't born here. And there's so many other individuals who, not having been physically born in a country, is recognized as being a part of another country. For example, Sparrow in Trinidad. How many people know that Sparrow was actually born in Grenada?
But we all embrace Garvey, don't we? Where was he born?
Marcus Garvey?
Right.
When we discussed that yesterday, the argument is that he was born in St. Kitts. Some say he was born in Jamaica. But until we find that birth certificate, we can't be sure.
Yeah,
we know his mother was born here.
But we all embrace him still.
Let's take this caller. Sorry.
Good afternoon.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Yes, it is good morning. Mr. Blake, well, first, thank you for this program. Hello also to your guest. I want to thank you, Mr. Blake, for your hosting for the last several, I think, a couple of weeks or so. It has really, given us a lot of educational and information on various things. And I also want to thank you for being on that panel on election night. You gave some very good input there. Now, I just want to say quickly here, on your discussion about the citizenship and the selling of passports, I'm sorry to have to say this, but I come down straight in the middle. I agree with everything you've said, and sorry, my dear friend, Mr. McMahon, I don't agree with your point of view, but I'll tell you why. You can't compare a passport as a national asset with some of these things you have mentioned, because you're talking about citizenship of a country, and in that you're also talking about population. You have boundaries, that would define a particular country. And all of these other people, and many of them don't look like us. And I like what Mr. Blake said about the breakdown. Who are they? Where they're from? That kind of profile compared to who is there. So that could have a big impact. Now, you mentioned about the sugar industry and the monetization of things. This is exactly the problem. You're going to monetize this, just getting all of this money. We don't have a good idea of how much came in, what it is used, and therefore it has a corruptive aspect to it. Now, if you're going to say limit it for certain purposes and what have you, there's a different. The other point that Mr. McMahon brought up is about sovereignty, and the other countries shouldn't be concerned about what we do here. That's not it. A passport is not to come into St. Kitts, A passport is to go into another country. And that was made clear a couple of years ago when the European, I think it's the UK, or the representative of the European Union spoke about it. We have the right to print and sell any passports, but they have the right not to let those people in. And what we are doing is devaluing the passport, devaluing us, those who are here, in terms, because at some point in time, supply and demand, at some point in time, and we heard it from the gentleman, I think Mr. Khan, they're just selling the passport out there, and whoever bid more and less, this is getting ridiculous, to that point. So I think, just in conclusion, that yes, we have to be very mindful. Yes, it brings in money, but we should be looking at weaning ourselves off of it, at least in terms of the dependency on it for our development. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that last point. Right? I think it's a dangerous trend for us to be developing, that we depend so heavily on. And I'm sure you agree with that too.
I would agree with that. But, right? Remember that we have an asset, as you said.
I agree. It is an asset.
You can regard it. Look, we have something that brings in a lot of money. How we manage it is up to us. And I agree that there should be some elements in the management.
Much room for improvement in that area.
Yes, absolutely. There's no question about that.
Right.
But I attended a meeting recently where a very prominent business person, she said that the CBI has made us greedy and lazy and all that corrupt, as Mrs. Franks just said.
Yes.
Okay, and that's true, but all of that is because of how we decided to use the funds. A place like Norway, for instance, they have lots of oil, and they choose not to splurge it all over the place, but you create a sovereign wealth fund they're going to have money there for a rainy day, and they use it for their social programs and that sort of thing. Okay, it's how you use it. That was always when the CBI came up in 2015. I remember well that it was under a lot of criticism, and I always said that it is not the selling of the passport itself that is the problem. It's how we organize it and how we use the funds that really matter. Okay? And yes, and it came up again when it was discovered that places like Kittijan Hill and Christopher Harbour got money from it.
So
sure, but that is exactly what we should be using the funds for sustainable things, so that when it no longer exists, we're left with things that can sustain us.
So you really don't have a problem with every Munam Bagay, every Tom, Dick and Harry, as we say, having our passport all over the place? I mean, you really don't have a problem with that? Persons who have no affinity, just a minute. Persons who have no affinity to St. Kitts, persons who have no interest in St. Kitts, because basically they want the passport to exploit it and before it's the benefit of being able to travel here and there visa free, as we mentioned earlier. You have no problem with
how many thousands of our citizens have gone abroad, migrated abroad?
Many.
As a matter of fact,
many.
I would encourage more of our citizens to get a second passport too.
Yeah.
Because it has a value. It has the value of one, giving you more opportunities, giving your kids more opportunities, making sure that you have options. Okay? Tomorrow, I always remember Montserrat, overnight, they were lucky they were still a colony. Because overnight they had nowhere to go. Right?
That could happen anyway. They could have the St. Kitts.
Exactly.
It's almost happening in St. Vincent.
Exactly. And you know what the Americans did when that happened? They said those who have like green cards and those kinds of things could easily go there. Those who have it being processed can easily go there. That's what I'm saying. It's insurance, if you want to call it that.
What about the fact that we have another caller? Oh, okay, sorry, we have another number of calls. Let's take this call, seriatim, and then we will come back to the discussion. Welcome, caller. Sorry for keeping you waiting so long. My apologies.
Hello, Mr. Blake.
Yes, sir.
Hello, this is Sonny Boy calling from New York. I agree with you about the passport situation. Because me as a Kittitian, one time I come home and my passport was expired and I didn't know. And then they had a policeman from the Windward Islands. He didn't want to let me in my country. My cousin was a custom agent and he saw me and he said, "Oh, my cousin, there he is." And he said, "Look, I leave my cousin alone, he won't here." And the police from the Windward Islands wouldn't let me in. So one thing I'm impressed about the passport is that I don't agree with it. Mr. Blake, you there?
Yes, I'm listening. I'm not following you too clearly, honestly, but I'm trying to extract the gist of your presentation. And you have 30 seconds more, anyway.
Okay, the gist is that I don't agree with sacred cellular passport.
Okay, right.
Because a passport is very sacred.
Okay.
And if you sell our natural asset, you're destroying the country. Or you don't know who is a criminal or who not a criminal.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much. Let's take another caller. Welcome, sir.
Mr. Blake, good morning.
Talk to me.
Yeah, I must commend you for the time spent when Mr. Bradley was out.
Thank you.
In connection with today's topic, right?
Mm-hmm.
I agree with a lot of the stuff you say, right?
Mm-hmm.
In connection with selling our passport. Selling our passport have gotten us, the ordinary citizen, in a lot of trouble that we didn't create. What the situation with Magadan, what the St. Vincent advisory and them kind of thing, is not local citizens had caused those, Even when they had the offshore banking and so on, when we get blacklisted and so on, it's not our local was causing that. It's person we allow to...
Who we sold our passports to.
Right. And this one is very important. Administration in the past, and I think present and future, they're hiding the amount of passports sold from us. They keep on saying that the people are the government, but yet when the people ask questions, you're being maybe target and them kind of thing like that. You belittle and them kind of thing when you ask questions about
let him
passport.
finish. Take a note if you wish, but let him finish.
Huh?
Yeah, go ahead, finish up.
Yeah, and also person buying our passport because they cannot go visit certain country, so they're using our passport that bringing us into problem also. Yeah, thanks for your time, buddy.
Yeah, thanks to you. Appreciate that. We're gonna take the other callers, Mohammed, because we're running out of time. Let's take these other two.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Blake.
Morning, ma'am.
Good program.
Thank you.
Listening at that, we want to know how the passport sell and everything. No, Honorable Prime Minister Dr. Duin, because the farmer one, we didn't know how much passport sell. So we need to know the update of the passport, because we can't get passport to buy from other countries, like other thing. We go visa, we go all kind of thing to get the passport to go travel. Take care.
Thank you. Take care of yourself. Hello? Hello, caller? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. First of all, what the gentleman was describing were management issues, right? That there's absolutely no reason why we can't fix those things. Okay, things like knowing how many of the passports and who they were sold to. That's because of management issues, right? That has nothing to do.
Is it manageable? Because since 1994, for 40 years. For 40 years, we have not been able to manage it. So is it manageable?
They had their reasons why they wanted to hide that from us. Okay. I looked. I think, for instance, the SIDF has accounts posted up to 2016. After that, I don't know what happened. Okay. It's a management issue. At least we knew how much money we were getting in up until then.
Up until when?
The last I saw posted on the website was up to 2016, right? I looked it up. Okay.
And it told you
I am sure
how many passports were sold and how much money?
No, not how many passports. How much money will be was
between 1984 and 2016.
I think from 2010 I saw up to
for a very small portion of those 38 years.
But I also saw something posted. I think was it by Brantley, where it showed you how many billions came in. Now, I am saying, right, that the US and the European Union were not going to give us no $5 billion in aid. They weren't going to do it. So when you ask, well, what can we replace it with? That's a very good question. What should we replace it with? And I don't agree that this thing is unsustainable either. They used to say the same thing about tourism a long time ago. Oh, it's a fickle industry and it will disappear. The fact that so many countries have jumped on the bandwagon, and the fact that they've been saying all along that, well, they have these concerns about it, yet it continues to bring in the millions. So I'm saying we should milk it until what? What's the expression?
So, when the cricketers, when Richard and others decided not to accept what the term blood money, did you support that stand on principle, or were you against it? Because
on principle, yes.
You figure.
But what kind of?
So you seem to be saying that once we can obtain money from whatever source, once it's millions.
No. I don't
That's
agree.
the question you gave. So,
no,
make it clear.
No. What I'm saying is, I still don't. You and some other commentators,
some others,
have still not explained to me why a passport is so sacrosanct, like it's a Bible or something. You still have not explained that concept to me.
Listen, the guy was making the point. We'll come back to that selling passports drives up real estate prices because only a certain kind of individual in terms of income can afford it. I find that the selling of the passport is surrounded by too much opacity. It's too opaque.
I agree, but
just a minute, let me finish. I want to suggest that it enables a lot of corruption, including bribery. It can facilitate money laundering. It can conduce to support for tax evasion. People who want to avoid extradition. I think that the number of negatives that are attendant with this practice are too many to justify its continuance.
I'll just ask you one question.
Let's take another call.
Okay.
Hold your question. Write it down before you.
Yeah, I won't forget.
Yeah. Carry on, caller.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Blake, good morning.
Morning.
And good morning to your guest, Leo. Mr. Blake, you said something in your comment just now. The selling of our passport. Well, you know what that has caused to us, Sinkers and Nevis people? November the 22nd, 2014, 12 o'clock in the day, it was announced from Canada that Citizenship Division no longer have the free travel access to Canada. All because of one man bought a Sinkers Nevis passport. And he said it on record that he paid $1 million for the passport. Not to come here, but to go other places where he couldn't go with the Iranian passport. And that is Alizero Mogadam. So I'm asking you guys, why he had to pay $1 million for a passport because he wanted to go to Canada. I listen up the ear. Thank you.
Thank you. We have 3 more callers, those will be the final 3. Then we get back to some final comments because, as you can see, we're soon out of time. Hello, caller.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning. Sir.
Yes, I just wanted to commend Mr. Blake also for the programs that he has been hosted over the past couple of weeks.
Thank you.
It's very educational. Just quickly, I just want to raise one quick point here, is that this passport or citizenship opportunity for anyone has been approved. It's quite all over the world. To me, the developed countries have it. You know, I mean, this is something that is competitive right now. So, in truth and in fact, if it is beneficial to the developed countries, it should be beneficial to us. We just need to have a lot more legislation in monitoring it and making sure that it's being processed in accordance to the regulations.
Well, of course, it's not correct to say that because it's beneficial to the developed countries. You know that can't be correct. You know that, yeah.
The opportunities that exist in the developed countries that has actually copied this opportunity that will develop in Sinkers, because they see something good. And I believe this is something that must be taken in the discussion going on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Of course, it is incorrect to say that because something is beneficial to another country or to a developed country, that it is beneficial to Sinkers ipso facto. That certainly is an incorrect statement to make. Let's take another caller.
Greetings.
To you.
Greetings.
To you as well.
Okay, thanks. Okay, and by their copying, don't mean that it's good. People copy bad things.
Precisely.
And listen, you see this CI, what name?
CBI. CBI.
By CBI, yes. It is the worst thing that we could ever do. I mean, the negative. Sure. I mean, man, this system here, and look at the way we are putting this system on the pinnacle, all because of the monies that are being accumulated and not looking at the different, the innumerable negatives that this thing here is bringing. It has brought and continues to bring to our shores. I think we should stop it forthwith.
Thank you.
Blessed love.
Blessed love. Let's take one more call. Final call.
Mr. Blake.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm calling you back. I want to make one observation. Why is it if you're born in Sinkers and you come to Sinkers in any way, truck or form, if you're coming on the beach, on the road, and you don't have your passport or your Sinkers documents, once you prove that you're born in Sinkers, why the press charges against you? In America, don't care where you live for 100 years, and you come home to the United States, all you have to prove you were born in America. But Sinkers have a law. If you come in there, like to Lime Key, like the guy came into Lime Key, they charge him with a crime. Or even charge somebody with a crime for a place they were born. That is wrong. That is wrong, Mr. Blake. And I thank you for your show, Mr. Blake. And I hate to see you go, but I love you. And tell my brother Jam down how good you treat me.
Definitely. Okay, that's what it. Okay, that's it. We're not going to accept any more calls because our time is up. Yeah. Listen, there are a number of things we still haven't touched. But are there statutory quotas with respect to the number of passports that can be sold or should be sold?
Not that I
Wouldn't you
know.
like to see that introduced?
Yes, of course. Like I said, there are some management stuff that I think can regulations that can be changed. But let me answer.
Yeah, we have just 1 more minute. Yeah, one more,
okay.
1 minute
Let
to
me
fill.
try.
Yeah.
First of all, the thing with the Magadam thing, like I said, that was just a talking point. After the new government came in, not a thing you heard about that after. And in any case...
No, it's more than a talking point, because we did lose our visa-free status as a result.
Yes, but that was being lost by Antigua. They had the same concerns with other countries in the region. That was not peculiar to St. Kitts.
Yeah, but one thing I can say is it was initiated by that particular incident.
Imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
Yeah.
The mere fact that so many countries followed suit, followed our lead, is enough.
No, it's a very minority, a very small number of countries, in fact, you know.
Where?
That have, you mean in terms of CBI?
You have followed...
it's a small number compared to the almost 200 members.
No, it's not a small number. Look it up. It's not a small number. Look it up. It's a small number that are up there in terms of what they used to call the platinum brand and so on.
It doesn't approximate 50% of the members.
Even some of the larger countries. Look it up and you'll see.
I did look it up.
It is a significant number.
It is less than 30%, for example, of the members of the United Nations.
So what? That is a huge number.
No, but you're saying so many. I mean, I thought
that's a lot of people.
But they'll finish up, yeah.
And the final point, right, that I ask you and the other people who are against it. Would you return all that money that we made? Right, you laugh.
That's a rhetorical question.
Exactly, precisely. If it was so bad, right, you wouldn't do that. Okay, you might argue all you want.
It is not illegal revenue. It is not illegal monies. So why would you return
illegal? Exactly, it's not illegal, and it was also a good way of securing capital that we are in short supply here, right?
Okay, sir.
The CBI did its work, and as long as we can continue to milk it, I say milk it until such time.
Okay, we hear you loud and clear.
Until we find an alternative.
And I'm sure you have supporters listening and viewing, and I'm sure that, well, some have made it clear that they support the position of those of us who believe that it is something that should be done away with expeditious immediacy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being a part of Frank and Candid today, and thank you for being supportive of the program over the past couple of weeks. In fact, throughout the the life of Frank and Candid. We look forward to your continued support as of Monday, when we continue discussing with you matters of importance, matters of interest, matters that we need to discuss in depth more and more. Thank you very much once again. Look forward to doing this some more at another later date. Who knows? But in the interim, be good.
Minister Dr. Drew participates in an emergency meeting of the OECS Authority, Guyana experiencing difficulty